All right, so I will just give a short speech, then I will have a question. It's a very simple question. So, it was I came in Canada 2 years ago, in 2022. And as a believer, I don't know, I think you answered the question before, and we believe as a Christian that God talked to us. And so I would have just share my experience like you did about how God talked to me on my belief. And after I just want to have your thoughts about that. So we believe that how God is speaking by so many ways. He can even use people who are not Christian, and I think in the Bible he used a donkey to talk to somebody too. So God can talk by so many ways. There are no limitation. And on my belief, and everything that I will say now, it's only my belief. I'm okay if you don't understand, and I'm okay if you don't accept that, okay? So there are no debate or whatever. I'm okay with your position. In 2022, I begin to have in my heart a desire to leave my country, that is Switzerland, to start and begin to serve God and to entrance in my ministry. And I just had that thoughts in my heart. And after a few months, so I was praying about that. God, what do you mean? I don't understand. Things like that. And one night I did a dream. In what I believe I see an angel came to me, and this angel told me, Charles, so I was working as an architect, and Charles, many propositions to found a new company is coming, but don't accept it, because among those propositions, they are the call of God. Then he left. So 3 months after that, for no reason, I received 12 to 15 propositions in the room of 2 weeks. And I bring my postulation, nowhere. My resume, my CV, nowhere. And so everything happened like the angels told me a few months ago. And I was a bit confused because I was, okay, that's happened, but I don't see God. And I begin to make a fast and prayer, and will look like the Ramadan, if I can say. And in this fast, my question was, where I have to go? I have truly to leave Switzerland because I was not speaking English. I have no family, no friend, I know nothing. And I did a fast and prayer of 3 days. And during those 3 days, I did a dream in what I see. I buy a flight ticket, and I saw that the price was $334, Swiss francs. And another day, again, so I see on my flight ticket, it was right, Switzerland from Toronto, specifically Toronto. And after that, I did a second dream where I saw a pastor in the dream, came to me, give me his hand and tell me, Charles, come here in Canada, in Toronto, and serve me here. And when we dream about the pastor in Christianity belief, it's God who is the image of God. And after that, one day, still the first day of my fast, I was ready to go at church, and I stopped to my pastor's house to to take him to go in the place to the church. And he came in the car, and he told me, Charles, I don't know why, but I feel in my heart to tell you that something will happen in May in your life. We was in February at that time. And he already received a word a few months ago about saying that I have to leave my country in May. And we was in February, so it was in 2 months. And I have a job and situation, and I cannot leave things like that. So I was a little stressed about that. And the same pastor I was on the highway. And Canada, it's something I never had in view. He took on the floor, I don't know where that's come from, a flag of Canada. And me, I'm French, but I don't have any flag of France or Switzerland. And I found a flag of Canada in my car. And my pastor was asking me, but why do you have that? And I don't know. And you don't knew that all the story that I begin to have thoughts about Canada and stuff like that. So I was very surprised. But I said nothing. I said, I don't know. And I did another dream where a workmate talked to me and asked me, Charles, why do you have to leave your country? And I answered to my workmate, oh, I don't know. I have to follow God and follow my heart. And I am in my heart to leave Switzerland to come here. The last day of my fast, I was walking my dog. And I never saw in my life a star line in heaven, even in the sky. And I always prayed and said, Lord, one day when you won't truly talk to me, just show me a star line and I will know it's the truth. I never saw in 25 years, I never saw that at that time. But that night I saw the star line. And I truly feel my heart be tight and telling me, look in what direction go the star line. So I check on Google Maps and it was going through Canada. So I start to have many confirmation. And this last day, a person, I don't know her, don't have her number, I never see her, never talk to her, I don't know who is this person, a random person who called me, said, hey, is Charles? I said, yes. All right, I just feel to tell you that my sister is living in Toronto and she will welcome you when you are coming. And she closed the phone. And I was like, what is that? Because I talk about that to nobody. So I was very surprised. And I have soon done. All the situation was blocked. I try to, okay, now I believe that I have to leave Switzerland and go in Canada. But everything, all the doors was like locked, closed. And I was praying. I said, why? You call me to leave and go in Switzerland, why everything is blocked? And I feel God told me, buy the ticket and everything will be open. And it was a Sunday after church, I came my home. I opened my computer and I go on the website of Air Canada. And I see a wonderful offer, reduction, Geneva to Toronto. Geneva is a city in Switzerland. And the price, $334, like I did in my dreams, like months ago where, I saw in my dream that I was booking a flight ticket at $334. And I opened the website and I fall on the same thing. And when I bought the ticket, the next day, it was a Monday, I will never forget that. My neighbor, so I was living in a condominium. My neighbor, he come knock on my door. And he said, can I come? And I was, yeah, come. And he started to go in my rooms, my bathroom, and visit my apartment. I was like, what's happened? And he was not speaking. And he told me, Charles, can I buy all your furniture? And I was like, why are you asking that? His answer was, I love how your decoration and stuff like that. But it was not make sense. He don't knew that I was leaving the country in 6 weeks. And so he told me, give me your price and I take everything. He told me everything. So I give him a price, he give me the money next week. And he took all my furniture when I left. And when I was selling my car, it was a car of 13,000 Swiss francs, so approximately 20,000 Canadian dollar. I sell my car, and I go to this guy and give me the money, I give him the key, and I ask him, can I keep the car and the money for 6 weeks? I know this guy from nowhere. And again, he told me yes. So I keep the car for 6 weeks with the money. And he was trusting me that I will come back to him in 6 weeks. And all the situation was open like that. The doors was open and everything was open. And I finished in 2 minutes. Now is the interesting part. I told you at the beginning that I'm an architect and I love mathematics. And so if I come back on those 334 Canadian dollar, you probably know that in the alphabet Hebraic, alpha, the letter have some values. And sometimes I like playing with that to find if God have a message for me, because I believe that He's talking us through that. And in architecture, it's also a number that we found in many places in the Bible. Is the number, we call that in French the golden number. And we use that in architecture or construction in general. We say it's a divine number, but in reality we just use it for a ratio, to have the right size for the windows or stuff like that. And this number is 1.618. And so I start to take my 334 of my price ticket, and I divide it by that number. And it's give me 206. So I watched in Hebrew what that means, 206, and I found out that it was Sheba. Sheba, I don't know what is it, Sheba, me at that moment. So I look and I see that it's the 11th month of the Hebrew calendar. And after that, I took the 334 and I did times 1.618, the golden number. And it gave me 540. All right? I took those 540 and I had 10. Why 10? Because it's the value number of the first Christian symbol with XP, the chrism, in French, I say it. But I had my 540 to those 10, and it gave me 550. And those 550, I checked in Hebrew what it was meaning. And it was meaning, is the time to live. And I took those 550 and I divided by 11. Why 11? Because the 11th month of the Hebrew calendar. So it was giving me 50. And 50 in Hebrew means Canada. And the month of Sheba is, in our calendar, is the month of May. So the message that God, on my belief, was giving me, is the time to live in Canada in May. And my question now is, and I want to understand like your perspective as Muslim, who talked to me at that?
Okay, I'll be brief, but I'll try to be clear. And since you've given your experience and you've asked me frankly, I honestly believe that there could be, from my point of view, one of the three possibilities.
Yeah.
The first possibility is not great, so please don't mind it.
It's okay, no worry.
There are quite a few stories of this type which have basically the jinns who are involved. Jinns are like humans, but they are invisible. They come to your dreams, demons, yeah. They come to your dreams, and there are many stories about them. I actually did an article on them, but I don't want to go into stories. So that could be one possibility, but I'm not insisting that possibility is the right possibility. The other possibility, again, you've asked me coming from my perspective.
I'm okay.
It is God guiding you, as you have rightly understood it, and all the way from Switzerland to come to Canada with all these remarkable signs that you've received. And just listen to me seriously, don't smile at what I'm saying. So that you come to Canada and you start doing your work and you meet somebody like Khalid, Zaheer, and after your Christian mission you come to actually understand Islam, because in Switzerland you could not have understood it. So you came from Ajax to Mississauga, I came from Guelph to Mississauga, and you met me. And you start thinking that, oh my goodness, this is what God wanted me to do, to come to here first through Christianity and that mission, and then ultimately to the ultimate message. The third possibility is, which is I'm glad that I'm able to say that, despite the fact that we have clear differences. You see, I believe that Islam is, or at least my understanding of Islam is inclusive. Now, by inclusivity, what I mean is that I'm not exclusive. An exclusive message is the one that says that I am right and therefore I am going to have salvation. All others are wrong and they are doomed. This is exclusive. There is a third possibility, pluralist. A pluralist is somebody who would say Christianity is absolutely fine, Islam is absolutely fine, Hinduism is absolutely fine, Buddhism is absolutely fine. They are all different ways leading to God. I am not a pluralist. I am not an exclusivist. I think Islam teaches me to be an inclusivist. What it means is that although I think what you are understanding and some of the things you are doing is not correct, yet because what you are doing, you're doing with sincerity, and you are not knowingly, deliberately doing anything wrong with an evil intention, despite the fact that what you are doing is, from an ideal point of view, wrong, you still have a hope of salvation. So there are 3 boxes that I've made for you. There could be a 4th box, but it's as yet not coming to my mind. Maybe I'll think about it. So either it's jinn-based, or it is a way shown to you to ultimately come to Islam, or you have been asked to serve your own faith, which in some ways is ideally not correct, but because you're doing it with the right spirit, and God in His supreme plan wants you to be a part of it and do as best as you can. Over.
All right. So the end of the story, I came in Canada, and after 10 days, I came in a random church, if I can say random. And the pastor who welcomed me is the pastor that I saw in my dream in Switzerland. And this pastor received a word from God, from a prophet, we believe as a Christian, that somebody will come in her ministry to be a help for her. So when we see each other, it was a perfect match because we saw us have the same language, and knowing each other, we knew who we have to meet. And the story was perfect, and I believe that on your belief, and I respect that you can say that it's the jinn or Allah or whatever, but in our belief, it's just bringing our faith stronger on the both side, because by the same way that Jesus was prophesied in the Old Testament, I can say my venue in Canada was prophesied as well, and the match was absolutely perfect. So if it's Allah who guide me to finally come to the Islam, my question will be why Allah, knowing that He will also know that I will be encouraged in my faith in Jesus Christ. So the question is why He will do that. But
So the 3 possibilities I mentioned, the first, I'm taking it away, ruled out, right? If I look at the second possibility, then Allah has His own ways. He is showing you a path and you are doing it sincerely. And if what I am understanding is correct, sometime in the future, because you are a sincere person, you would realize that this is brilliant, remarkable and miraculous, but this one is even better. So you will realize it. That's my understanding. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to think about it. And the third box that I made for you is that what you are doing is good, even though it's not according to the ideal understanding, yet it is not rejected. So in the supreme wisdom of God, your good performance was destined to belong to a certain category. Over.
Go ahead, Charles.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can go to the next question. I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Basic question. I would like to know, like, as a Muslim, if you believe in the Quran, in the Gospel. Well, I probably know that the answer is no, but what do you think exactly about the Gospel today?
What we believe is that Moses received Torah. David received Psalms. And Jesus received what the Quran calls Injil. We translate it as Gospels. What we also believe is that all these three books, as well as some others of which we are not aware of their names or details, these books are very much from God, but they have not been preserved. So there is a human element that has gone into them. That is why, and why did it happen? It happened because God knew that even if the text of the Bible is going to change, there will come prophets who will correct them. So for instance, Jews went wrong in many ways in Torah. And in came Jesus to let them know that they have introduced changes and they have gone wrong. However, after Prophet Muhammad, because there was no further prophet to come, therefore it was arranged that the book be fully preserved, and it is fully preserved in the same language as it was revealed in. The Bible, they're all translations. This is the original text, which is there for us to be able to understand from it directly as best as we can. So we believe in all these three books: Torah, we call Zabur Psalms, and Injil Gospels, but our understanding is that they are not in their pristine exact form. There is an element of human influence that is also to be found.
All right.
Over.
So, about that, and if you can just explain me maybe a scripture of the Quran, is in chapter 5, verse 46, if I resume on my understanding again. So, can probably be wrong on your perspective, and it's all right. But on my perspective, the verse is saying that Jesus was sent to confirm the Torah who came before him. And that we give him the gospel to be a guide and a light to confirm what the Torah was. And my question is, if according to the Quran, with the word of Allah, on your perspective, say that the Torah, that Jesus came to approve the Torah, but on your perspective you refuse the true on my perspective, if you reject the gospel who proved the Torah, how can you say that you believe in the Torah if it's the gospel?
You see, I've tried to partly answer this question, but I'll do it again and move on to the other part of my answer. We believe that Torah is the book of God. However, there are now changes that have crept into the text because it is not fully preserved. Likewise, in the case of Gospels. So, the Gospels, Injil, is God's word, but is not fully preserved. So, for instance, Sermon of the Mount is brilliant. From A to Z is God's word, coming from Jesus Christ's tongue. But when it says a few things like Jesus, the Son of God, even though the expression Son of God can be explained, because other humans have also been called sons. It is actually in our understanding, because of the translation, it was the slave of God, as we call ourselves, Abdullah, Abdur Rahman. So that's one part. The other part is, you see, I disagree with this translation, which says, well, the translation is correct, but the understanding is not spot on. That the Bible, well, the Gospels confirmed Torah. What it actually means is that in Torah, there was this prophecy of Jesus Christ that he will come. And by him coming, he confirmed that what was there in Torah was correct. Likewise, the Quran says that the Quran and Prophet Muhammad have come to confirm what's there in the Gospels and what's there in Torah. In that, it is actually fulfilling and confirming the prophecies that were there regarding the next prophet, the last prophet to come. So that is what it calls confirmation. Over.
All right. So the Quran is, if I take the chapter 3 verse 4, and again, please bring your explanation if mine is wrong. It's saying that the book who is given, the book of truth, who is given, is there to confirm the book that came before, I guess, Muhammad in that moment. And he's saying that specifically about it's the Torah and the Gospel. But, so again, the word of Allah supposed to have no mistake, right? The Quran is perfect, the word of Allah, right? So, if the Quran says, okay, but this book are true, and why today the Quran, if we say that today the Torah or the Gospel are not right, that means that on my perspective the Quran as well is not right, because today if I won't be a Muslim and I'm looking at that and I have see the Quran telling me that the Gospel and the Torah are right, are the truth, but we are teaching me, oh, it's not the truth, but that means the Quran is not the truth, because what I explain go against the Quran. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. You see, when the Quran confirms Torah and Gospels as books of God, what it means is that the books that were revealed on Moses and Jesus were indeed God's books. However, the fact that what we have today in the name of Torah and Injil, Torah and Gospels, is the very same book, is what not even Christians and Jews claim. Because the very same book means in the very same language with no changes in the words. These are translations. If you allow me, I can give you a few examples.
Yeah, for sure.
There was a prophecy which we believe was a prophecy regarding the last prophet Muhammad and his companions, that they will go in 10,000 number. The number would be 10,000, right? And this is exactly the number which was of the Prophet and his companions when they conquered Mecca. Now, Muslims started talking about it. And some new editions of Bible changed 10,000 and replaced it by saying myriad. or whatever it's pronounced, which means a large number. So, this is not possible in the Quran. We say our prayers, the Quran is read. If somebody commits even a small mistake, there are people who would correct it. The very word is preserved. So we believe that Gospels are from God, Torah is from God, but we also know that they were altered. So there is some part of it which is correct, but some part is not correct, the one that has been added by humans. Whereas regarding the Quran mentions that we are going to fully preserve it. So even today, we read Torah, but you would obviously ask this question, how would we know what part is correct and what is not? Obviously, we'll probably might commit mistakes here and there, but the Quran says it is the Quran which will ultimately decide which part is not correct. Which part is correct probably may not be exactly possible through the Quran completely, but the part that runs against the Quran is altered. There is a part of the Bible which is absolutely correct because it is an explanation of the Quran. However, to answer your question, Torah and Injil, Gospels, they are God's books, but they have been in some cases altered. And therefore we have to be careful while reading it. For example, the same way as, there are a number of statements attributed to Prophet Muhammad, we are very careful in not accepting them if they are not consistent with the teachings of the Quran and the other teachings. So we accept what the Prophet says as the truth, but we don't accept everything that is mentioned in his name, because we know that some part of what is mentioned in his name is not exactly what he said. So likewise we do in the case of both Torah and Injil.
So it's the same thing.
Well, they are the books of God, but they are the books which have not been 100% preserved.